All right, you're back with the crazies, and I have gotten the 32 Nash done enough that it's out of the garage, and I test drove it yesterday, and it has a couple of, well, it's a minor oil leak I think I can straighten out, and the generator's getting a little warm, and I am not sure if it's overcharging or not. And I haven't checked any of that out, but it seemed to do okay. It had a lot more power than the other Nash, the one that's, you know, all rusty and never been touched. So it's a little different. It's more of a, that one almost acts like a sports car compared to the other one. The other one drives like a garbage truck, and this one drives like a 72 Chevrolet. So you see the difference. But this is my next project. I've had this car. It's a 1940 Packard formal sedan, and I've had it for probably 15 years, every bit of 15 years. And let me give you a look-see, because it is horrible. All right, here it is. I just pulled it out of the shed. The only thing I've done to it is take everything that I had stored to the car out of it, and I'm probably missing half of the car, which is a really bad thing, because when you're missing parts for these cars, you're basically screwed. You have to make it, or make it work off another car or something. But here it is. When I got this car, it was completely engulfed in weeds in the woods. Guy was using it for a dog house. Had his dog leash tied to it, and the dog was sleeping inside it. And he let it sit out there so long that it rotted the spark plug out of it. You can see the plug's gone right there. And I filled the engine with, drained the water out of it and filled it full of motor oil, and it's been sitting that way for 15 years now, completely filled right up to the top of the carburetor. That's why it's sitting out here before I take it in the garage. I'm going to drain all the oil out of it. And I've been curious about this engine since I've had the car. The car is going to be horrible, but it's just a job. But the engine's a little bit different. You know, you could get into a big ordeal if it's got a lot of problems with rust. So I'm more curious than anything else. So I'm going to drain all the oil out of it, and probably rip the head off of it and take a look in the cylinders and see if there's any hope of saving it. So it's more of a curious thing than anything else. But this is going to be my next project if I can save it. She's pretty bad. I've got all the sheet metal and the rest of the car in the other shed over there, the tents. See, this is a formal sedan with the rear window, and it has a all the plastic on the dashboard is gone, but I bought all that a long time ago. New plastic. That was real pricey for this car, and it was real hard to find, but I did find a guy that made it. So we're good there. And of course it has no floors. The overall car isn't gross. You can see it's got a little hockey puck going down there. The rockers don't look terrible. It's got a little issue right here that I've got to straighten out. But overall, the rockers don't look terrible. It's like if I fix this, and yeah, these are in good shape under here. Well, there, I should say. And this car had a vinyl roof on it, and I'm not going back with a vinyl roof. You know, I can do a lot of things, but putting a vinyl roof back on this car might be a little much for me. So I'm not going to do it. And this car, this looks like a big old ugly something somebody put on here. Damn. And they probably did. But this, what you see here, is actually factory from Packard. This is a coach builder because they made it with a single back window. And the original car had a two-piece window. But this one has the single window, and that's common for the formal sedan. And I think they used this body for another model. And the other model had a two-piece window. And yeah, I thought this looked awful suspicious back here because it's sort of done badly. But it is factory. And I looked into it, and this is what they did. They cut it, put a piece of wood in it, and somebody along the line has fiberglassed it and done some other things to it to try to make it smooth it up a little bit. So I'll have to figure out what to do about that to try to make it blend in better. It's pretty bad when you have to go from sheet metal to fiberglass. That's a hard thing to do because it's hard to paint two different surfaces and make them stay that way. So I'll have to think about what I'm going to do here a little harder. But for right now, I'm just going to concentrate on the basic car, which is, you know, a little bit of work. And I'm not going to buy, I'm going to try to keep my expenditure down, and I'm going to try to make as much as I can. I'm going to make this. I got a rock and a screwdriver and a stick, so we'll beat it into some kind of shape and see if I can make it. You know, I'm working with tools that a caveman wouldn't use. Okay, now this side over here, now you see this one's just a little worse. But the rockers, surprisingly, are in decent shape. All the way up the door. Yeah. And I've got like a door hinge is rotted completely away. So I'm going to have to make that. And I'm sure the rest of them are questionable. So I'll take them all out and see what we got. And jump seat is absolutely frozen in place. And I tried fooling with it a little bit with oil. And it just said, I ain't moving. So we'll have to get a little more aggressive with that. Because I got to get all the seats out of it. I didn't want to mess the interior up. So I got to be careful with the seats. Yeah. Here we are. This is the... Check that clock out. Let me see if I can get a good picture of the... Whoops. Shit. There it is. Come on, focus. It's not going to focus. That's too bad. Because the clock is in really good condition. Really good condition. And this is where you hand crank it for the back window. So that's pretty cool. And that seems to be all in good shape. Yeah. That's that back window section. Yeah. Huh. And so here we are. This is, I pulled the starter off of it. Tried to bar the engine over a long time ago. Man, that's a starter for a big truck, man. They were serious about the starter. And here's the ugly old dashboard. The gauges are nice, but the plastic on the gauges are bad. Yeah, the gauges are actually in, I don't know, I guess maybe it's humidity is real bad, so probably got a lot of shit on the lens of this camera. Okay, yeah. But the plastic is gone, but the hardware and the chrome and the gauges are in good shape. I'm really surprised because this thing sat out in the weather with this open for the longest time. I don't know how long it sat out there, but it was a long time. Running boards are just sitting here, but all the chrome's on them. These chrome strips would be impossible to get for this car unless I took something and got it and cut them. But stuff costs so damn much. Whew. Well, we'll see how much we can get away with. And luckily I don't see any cracks on the engine. There's the dipstick. Let's see if she's still full as it was. Yep, she's running out. Yeah, so I'm going to put that back in until we get a drip pan under it. Ew, it looks ugly too. This is going to be one ugly mess. And I got my shop all nice and clean. So I'll get it in there and rip her apart. And it's I think you can see it's it is built in Richmond. And it's a 1940. And she's a formal sedan. Packard. So here we are. Even the tires, I guess they've been undercover for so long, they're probably hard as a rock, but they're not checked or cracked, but they'll probably blow out the second you try to drive it down the road. Yeah, they got some age on them. Yeah, I can see some cracks in them now. Little cracks. All right. All right, well, this is where we're at. And there's the shop. Empty, waiting for it. It doesn't stay empty for long. If I keep this shop open one day, this car right here belongs to a friend of mine, John. And if I'm blink my eyes one time, this car would be in my garage. And of course, he'll never work on it. He'll just come by and look at it and spit on it once in a while, and then go back to working on his houses. But, you know, I'm not going to let that happen. So when this thing's empty, car goes in it. 5 minutes later, car's got to be in it. All right. So, here we are. And I'll show you later after I get some of the muck and mire taken care of on this car. Alrighty, guys. Until I find something ugly to show you, I'll see y'all later.